So what's up, everyone? My name is Syed Askari, and welcome to the fourth episode of Contractor Chronicle podcast. Over the last 5 years, as you guys know, my focus has been to empower contractors to expand, grow their businesses through digital advertising and content creation. And that is the reason why I started this podcast, so I can bring some inspiring stories from the industry, builders, architects, contractors who've massively built a successful business online and in their specific expertise. So today I've got a very, very special guest and someone I follow on social media, Mr. Cohl Workman. Cohl, thank you so much for joining our podcast. Cohl is actually the owner of Thunderbird Pools and Spa. He's also president of ThunderScapes and also built a really cool app called Pool Contractor Pro, which we're going to talk about. So good to see you, man. Welcome to our show, and I'm excited to talk to you about your journey, man.
Oh, it's exciting. Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. I was going through your biography that you'd sent before our podcast, and I did not know you started off in a Shotcrete crew early on in your days when you're young.
Rough.
So tell me about that. And you said you were able to pretty much have your own crew by the age of 21. What was that like?
My gosh. Well, my introduction was when I graduated high school. I was going to be a graphic artist. So at my core, I'm an artist, and I was really good. I always won poster contests of art classes. I could paint anything. I could sculpt. So I was really creative. And, I ended up, my high school sweetheart got pregnant, and I had a kid, and I got married real early, did that thing, and found myself with responsibilities. I was actually doing roofing, and the economy was really in a bad zone then. And a buddy of mine came over, a guy I kind of partied with and hung out with, and he came over first thing in the morning, and he said, "Hey, do you have any work today?" And I said, "No, we got the day off." And he goes, "Hey, I come out and work with me." So he talked me into going out he was a nozzleman for a Shotcrete crew, and they made a lot of money, and they had a good work. It's piecework, and this is the early '80s, so they took me out as a laborer, and I needed a job, so I took the job, and I ended up in the pool business. So I kind of did not even plan on being a pool contractor, didn't know nothing about pool construction. Then I started out in one of the hardest to do jobs in the world. I mean, we're spraying concrete. We were doing 2 or 3 pools a day. It's constant go. These guys screamed and yelled at each other. It was just it's kind of a rough atmosphere in construction, especially back then.
Was this in Arizona?
Yes, in Phoenix, Arizona. So my whole life, I've been in the pool industry in Phoenix, Arizona for 40 years. And I'll tell you what, I've always gotten a paycheck every week in the industry. So that's how I've cultivated my whole thing. But that was my start. My daughter was born, and my daughter was born with a bunch of medical problems, and she had some reconstructive surgeries and stuff like that. She currently lives with me today. She's almost turning 40. So, man, I'm getting old. But anyway, I had to work hard and take care of my family, and I had it was just kind of a rough time. I was partying a little bit too much. I hadn't grown up. I'm trying to raise a kid, and then my kid needed all kinds of these surgeries and stuff like that. So it forced me to kind of get my act together. And I had to have a job, and I had to, I left that Shotcrete company and found a good Shotcrete company that could give me insurance and stuff like that. I bounced around. Shotcreters are kind of like, they move to the highest paying contractor, whoever's got the best work. And I ended up working for a guy named Monty Rollins, Red Mountain Shotcrete, and when I was 21 years old. And the guy that was running the crew kind of went off on a bender, the walkabout. I don't know. These are interesting people. But because I had a driver's license and I was dependable in the Shotcrete industry, I was able to get any job. And I'm a real I can figure stuff out. So, I just, if give me a program, I'll figure it out on my own. I don't need a manual. So I'm really good at figuring stuff out. So I just took the Shotcrete like a glove. I became the top finisher. I could nozzle. I could do any job out there. I don't just want to learn one thing and do my part, make money and go home. I'm trying to figure out how to run the business when I go to work somewhere. So that's the way I'm inclined, and that's the way my intuition works. So, but when everybody else quits, they're like, okay, you're next in line. So I was a foreman when I was 21 years old. I can't say it was the best group, but I learned, I started learning at a very young age, leadership and HR and how to deal with people and construction workers and how to deal with customers and how to talk to the pool builder and how to talk to the pool builder superintendent and make sure projects were done and create relationships. So it was a really neat thing to kind of stick me in the fire at a young age and kind of, forge who I am today. So I took responsibility, but my first responsibility always has been and always will be, before myself, I take care of my family.
I love that. So 21-year-old and you're already managing a crew. How did you learn leadership? Because me personally, 21 years old, I did not know anything about leadership, anything about business myself. I was in college, partying, just like you said. How did you learn about that?
Well, leadership is just, I don't know. I'm the oldest son. I did not have a good father figure. My real biological father and my stepfather really weren't present in my life, and so I think a lot of people fall into the trap of idolizing their grandparents or their father, and they got to be just like him. In fact, my brothers have emulated a life like my biological father. They went on a mission. They created a family structure. They live in the same town. They're afraid to leave anywhere. And they cultivated that. But for me, I was like, well, if I can basically don't want to be like that guy, I can be whatever I want. So, I set my sights always high. And then like when I was in seventh grade, I joined student council. Eighth grade, I was vice president. Could have been president, but I didn't want the responsibility. And I was kicked out for drinking at a Christmas party. So that kind of tells you not always good decision, but I was always thinking outside the box, and that's kind of how I think Thunderbird, ThunderScapes, and Pool Contractor Pro is just thinking outside the box. You got to be doing something. If everybody else is doing this, do something else. You don't want to be like everybody else. Right. So the fact of not having, and I've looked this up, a lot of really big people in life, leaders and innovators and stuff like that, did not have strong father figures. They went beyond that and just said, hey, I don't have to think in this realm. I can be whatever I want. I'm not so limited. So that's kind of, I think, what blew me up. And the only thing that ever held me back in my life was me and my own personal problems. I can't blame it on anybody else but my own stuff.
I love that. Is there someone you look up to as far as like a fatherly figure or role model that you're like, hey, this is a leader?
Oh yeah. I call them expanders. I idolize certain men, rock stars, certain leaders of industry, no politicians at all. There's not one politician I admire in the world. But, just genuine, humble people that are hardworking. There's innovators. A good friend of mine, or Kurt Bianchi, pool designer, really looked up to him, had dinner with him the other night. There's some people at Hayward and Pentair that I've met over the years that are just incredible leaders. There's pool builders I know like Rick Chafee that I just admire the way he is, a good, humble, hardworking guy that just, if I called him right now and asked him a stupid question about building a pool, he'd answer my question and take my call, so I get a lot of cool people in the industry. We have a professional relationship. What that means, they don't blow me off. And if I email them or call them, they'll get back to me. And if they need something, I get back to them too. So we got that back and forth. I'm also involved in a group called Tributary Revelation, which is a group of custom pool builders. And it's a small group, but we meet like 3 to 4 times a year at different locations. Next week or the week after, on the 22nd, we're meeting in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're going to tour pools. We're going to look at stuff. Right on. So, hey, we'll be in town, buddy. We're going to look around. There's a show going on. We have a bunch of round tables where we talk about it. We help each other in business. What are you doing? What you got going on? We talk about, anything from glass tile installation problems, construction problems, design problems. There's a bunch of designers, builders. So a lot of my expanders are there. I mean, I've met so many amazing people in the pool industry with my connection to Tributary, and then, knowing all these big classes. And then when I got into Pool Contractor Pro, we started hitting all the pool shows. I started meeting all kinds of guys. There's a guy in Texas, Brett Abbott, became a friend of mine. He's a marketer like you, but just a brilliant guy. I've been doing this for years, and he kind of helped me with my new website and stuff. And so it's a fascinating industry, and there's some amazing people in it. But yeah, I definitely because I believe I'm a real believer in manifestation. So in manifestation, your subconscious has to be able to see that things are possible. So you have to have expanders or people that like, hey, I want to be like that guy. It's possible because this guy did this and this guy. And hopefully somebody's listening to my story going, hey, if Cohl Workman can do it, I can do it too. I just got to put in, it's like my wife says, you can make anything happen, but you got to put in the work. Nobody's going to give you anything. Nobody's going to come in and rescue your business. You got to get up early and work hard and figure it out. And if you ask the universe for help, it's going to flood you with information and all the things that you need to get there. It's going to put those scenarios in action for you to achieve your dreams. But you got to put in the work. You got to gain the knowledge.
I love how you call them expanders. I think this is my new favorite word, expanders, because they actually expand your mind, right? Like they expand your belief. And to be quite honest with you, like you said, you look up to these people because they operate at the same frequency as you, like a higher frequency, abundance mindset, humble, very outgoing, providing value versus, that scarcity mindset. I don't want what I know to be known by like everybody else, you know what I mean? So like you are the 5 people you hang out with. So I really love that. That's how you look up to these people, and has contributed to tremendous success in your life as well. So you started from doing Shotcrete, head of Shotcrete crew, and now did you kind of go into sales as well?
Yeah, that's kind of the story. So I got into the Shotcrete arena, and I did that. My daughter was born. We went through a lot of surgeries. I didn't have another daughter for until 1991. So all through the 80s, I was doing Shotcrete. And I went to work for a lady named Janice Fisher. And actually, her husband, Janice and Floyd Fisher, owned Fisher Shotcrete. They were the biggest Shotcrete company in the Southwest around that time. And we were shooting tons of pools. And I went to work for them. And I wasn't the foreman right away. It took me 5 years to become a foreman over there. But my drive to be a leader, I finally got my own crew and got my own guys. But they were really at the top edge of pool construction. And then Mike Smith, one of my biggest mentors in life, he's the guy that really expanded me into getting my own company. And I really wanted to be like Mike. Mike was super cool, laid back, a great designer. Everybody liked him. He was so comfortable to talk to. He could just sell anything to anybody. He was just a remarkable salesman. And he took California Pools, a franchise, and he blew it up bigger than the parent company out of California. And we'd go to California and we would win all the corporate awards and stuff like that. So he was my first, really like mentor guy. So I shot his first pool in Mesa, Arizona, when he started his license, and got to know him really well. And then when I went into sales, went to work for him in 1996. So, and at the beginning of 1996, I was still in Shotcrete. Now, I was in Shotcrete, but I was also building artificial rock waterfalls and sculpting Shotcrete and doing high-end custom jobs. And by this point, a lot of the custom builders in town were requesting my crew to get the Shotcrete done. I did expert Shotcrete. We were really, really good at the time. We were probably that. And then, I kept begging Mike for a job, and I had long hair. I was a construction worker. They were looking at this dude like, maybe not, but I kept bugging him. And then, he finally said, okay. And then, I quit my job and I had to go into 100% commission job. So I went there. They didn't even have a desk for me. They found some little corner for me, but I made friends with all the girls at the front desk. And then after about a month, they found out I was probably one of the best designers on the staff. Now, there was a guy named Jim Neese who was like my guru back in the day, taught me how to design pools real good. Any of the old pool designers will know who Jim Neese is if they worked in Phoenix. And I learned under those guys, and he had some really good designers. So I got to really study under some really good design. We were the talk of the pool business back then. He won all the NSPI awards, gold award after gold award. They were the most awarded pool company, California Pools. That's why they made such a reputation. He came in and changed the pool industry and went from nothing to like the third largest company in town. He was underneath Shasta and Paddock. So we were kicking butt. So I begged him to take a job. He hired me. March, I went out. I started in February. He made me train for a month. Mid-March, I went out and sold 6 pools. And no, that was mid-February. I went out and sold 6 pools. And then March of 1996, I sold 20 pools and was his top sales guy for the month. So I kind of started out with a bang. Yeah, I was his newest sales guy. I went out and just was selling them like crazy. And by the end of the year, I had home builder accounts.
Did they teach you pool sales, or did you learn from scratch?
They take you out on a few leads. No training, no like desk job or anything. That's kind of where we're getting to now. We got Genesis and all these other guys. They'll set you down and start training you. I know Shasta Pools here in town. They have a school that you have to go to for a month. So no, they just kind of like, bits and pieces. But see, that's how I learn. I got to do it myself. If you tell me out of a book, it just goes through my head. I've got to hands-on do it. So when I train people, I make them do it in front of me, because if you tell somebody, they're going to miss 50% of it. And then when you got to go back, here's the magic. When you got to go back in your mind and retrieve information, actually do it, then you record it and then you memorize it, and then it's good. So, but anyway, I was his top sales guy. And then, by the end of the year, I had builder accounts, was in the top President's Club. He had a guy named Dave Loskill that worked there. The best. Well, I don't know if he was the highest producing salesman I ever seen in my life. And he had sold in 1 year over 200 pools, like 230 pools. I mean, I was selling like 110. I could sell 120 pools back in the day, but we were drawing them. We weren't doing pool studio. We were drawing them, doing this. And then, I didn't spend hardly any time drawing. You could do a hand drawing. The only problem was if you had to change it, you're erasing it, maybe starting over. But we could whip out those drawings. I got so good, I could just I measure out the backyard. I could hand draw a freeform pool with a rock waterfall and deck. And, like in 20 minutes, we'd go to somebody's house. They'd have a colored picture and a bid right there. They didn't wait for an email or call back. We didn't have that kind of technology. So it was bam, bam, bam.
Now for you to close 20 deals in a month, how many actual estimates did you end up going to?
I don't know. I probably had like a 50% closing ratio, dude. I mean, it was March, so everybody was ready to buy for summer. I'm representing the best pool company in town. Our prices were good at the time, because the market and everything. Right now, material costs, gas costs, even the permitting costs have gotten so ridiculous it's hard. But back then, the economy was smoking hot. President Clinton was in office. More millionaires were made in that administration, and the United States government wasn't in debt, and we had a 500 billion surplus. Now we're like 32 trillion in debt. So it's a different thing. I went and bought my first house for 150 grand, and I was doing Morrison Homes in Phoenix, Arizona, and they gave me a smoking deal. I'll tell you one story of how awesome that man Mike Smith is. In 1994, I got sober. And in 1996, I went to work for Mike Smith. In 1999, I was super successful, but my wife was not part of sobriety or living right. So I decided to get a divorce, and I got custody of my 3 kids, and I had crappy credit because of my wife's issues. So he goes, "Hey man, wouldn't you like to go buy one of those Morrison Homes?" And I said, "I sure would." He goes, "Well, go pick out your house and I'll do your mortgage for you." And so he took, and I go, "Hey, can I get a pool?" And he goes, "Yeah, you can get a pool." So he let me $180,000, put it in mortgage. And I wrote him a check for I think $1,200 a month. He made money like the mortgage company. And I went and got custody of my 3 kids, bought a new house and built a pool, and was a single dad for
That's
like 4
amazing.
years. And I was working for
Yeah.
him. At the end of that, though, I decided to go out on my own. I actually went to in 2000. In 2000, the economy got kind of a little crazy. That whole thing that was
Yeah.
going on with the economy got so hot that the same thing happened then. Interest rates went up. They tried to combat
Yep.
the rising prices, the escalation of prices that were coming
Right.
up. And they're trying to combat that. So it's kind of a scenario right now where interest rates are going too high. People didn't want to buy and they couldn't get a good deal on money. So at that point, I was like, I really wanted to, I had custody of my kids, and California was like pushing me to work weekends, evenings. And when I got custody of my kids, they were like, I told them, I said, I'm not going to work evenings or weekends, but I bet you I'll sell 100 pools and I'll make over $100,000 this year. And I did. And I did that for a couple of years. I took care of my kids. They got kind of resentful because I wasn't as productive as I was in the past. So it started some things.
100,000 is a lot of money back in the
Yeah,
day.
when you could buy a house for 150,
Yeah.
a killer house too,
Yeah.
not a piece of crap house. It was a beautiful home. I built a beautiful pool, got custody of my kids, but some things had changed. And to anybody that knows Mike knows that he went through some personal problems, some dark personal problems at the early 2000s.
Sure.
So I just decided it wasn't a good, safe place for me to work anymore. There's a lot going on. It was a big company. It was, it's crazy. And I just wanted something a little more peaceful for my life. And I went to work for a guy named Eric at Whitewater Pools, and that was going good. He made me the sales manager. He paid me a ton of money, and then 9/11 happened. And so if you're a sales guy, you're in the pool business. That was the first month ever that I had a goose egg in sales, and that's like the hitting bottom when you're a sales guy. If you can't sell one pool in 30 days after working for 30 days, something's wrong. But that was going on. It was a bad economy. And I just decided, at Whitewater, after 9/11 happened, Expander, a friend of mine from California Pools named David Caldwell, started a company called Cornerstone Pools. And my thought was, if Dave was just a sales guy, and I had done the construction, Shotcrete, I could superintend. When I built my pool, I built my pool myself. I didn't let a superintendent help me. I wanted to build my own, and I got him out of there. So
Yeah.
So I figured if Dave Caldwell can build pools, so can I. So I called Dave and he goes, hey, I did this. And the funny thing, I went in and talked to Eric, my boss, and said, hey, dude, I'm going to bounce out of here. And he goes, well, that's good. He goes, I can't afford to pay you anymore. I was going to cut you anyway and just put you back as a regular salesman.
Yeah.
And he sat down and told me how to go get my license. So that's the kind of relationship I've had with my bosses. He told me how to get my license. He later, 3 or 4 years ago, lost that company and sold it. And then whoever bought it ran it in the ground. But anytime I run into Eric or Mike, we're still on best friend. I mean, hey, how the heck are you doing? Those are some good times. But that's in 2002. I decided after 9/11, we're getting into war and stuff. War's not a good pool selling item on TV every night. So
not for economy.
I went and got my license. Thunderbird Pools. I cashed in my 401k plan from California Pools. So I took my 401k from California Pools, which Mike Smith gave us profit sharing. I had that old enough that I was able to cash out $18,500. That account had been up to 30. And that's what happened to the stock market. It was now worth $18,000. So I took that $18,000. I started Thunderbird Pools and I got a couple credit cards. And that was kind of how I started. So I don't know if Mike Smith knows that, but he funded me through his 401k plan. Thank you, buddy. But that's how I started my company.
His 401k helped you start a new venture.
No, yeah. So
that's a huge risk you took, and it paid off like many times back to you after 9/11. Why pools? Why did you start your own company? Like at the time where the economy was like because everybody would panic and be like, I want to work for someone else. Like that's the worst time to start your own business, when like economy's tanking and you're like, hey, let me cash out this 401k. I'm going to do my own thing. What was going on in your head at that point?
Well, I think I don't, and life is tricky. I mean, we can only do what we're good at. And like when we're growing up, we're like, I want to be a cop. I want to be a firefighter. Okay. So you want to be a firefighter. So in July, you're going to be out in the middle of the desert with 200 pounds of equipment on, sweating, working for 14 hours. That could be the possibility. Or if you want to be a policeman, my uncle David Uribe was shot in action. It was a horrible freaking thing. I don't want that on anybody. We get into we think, oh, we want to be a teacher. Well, they don't make any money. And then we go do things and we go, I don't like that, or I love doing this. Pools is really neat because I can make a connection with people. I'm very creative. It allows me to walk into a backyard and visualize. I mean, I walk into a backyard, I have a vision, I can see somebody's backyard. I'm very energetically connected. I do a lot of spiritual work. So when I look at somebody's backyard, I can see things that they can't see, the energy portals, where you want to group, where things can combine, where things need to be visually aesthetic. What does your foreground look like? What does the background look like? How does this all come into a dream to build you the ultimate backyard for you and your family? So I love doing that. The design process is the best part by far. It really starts to suck when you break ground and start doing construction, because construction is not a pretty process. We're going to destroy your backyard. We're going to unearth things that we didn't happen. Somebody could clip your house. Somebody could leave the gate open. Somebody could leave a water hose open. I mean, these things happen, but the design process is usually mostly all positive and uplifting and creative. That's what I fell in love with. And also fell in love with the fact that when I started Thunderbird, I was selling the pool, building the pool, starting the pool up. And then I had friends, and I can't tell you how many people I built pools, 5 or 6 pools for. It's just, I'm the family pool dude. If they need a pool, they call me, and so that's going to happen. So cool. So I ended up, I think it's I don't know the term of it, fate or God's will. I don't know what to put it in, but it's what we're at. I mean, a lot of people go, oh, I want to go into business. I want to own a restaurant, or I want to do this. Well, you don't know nothing about restaurants. Why would you open a restaurant if you're not in the restaurant business? But I know I'm good at pools because I've been doing it for 40 years. So, that's where you got to hang your hat on what you know and what you're good at and your experience. I think we just once we learn it, but we learn valuable life lessons as we become older and older. I've got people that are working for me that are brilliant, that are 22 to 28 years old. They're some of the smartest people I know, but they lack experience in the swimming pool industry. They lack experience in knowing all the nuts and bolts of everything we do. So I've gotten a bunch of these young people, and I'm like, hey, in 5 years, you're amazing now, but you're going to be off the charts in 5 years. You're going to be everything that we need in 5 years. This is what your career looks like in 5 years. So, I've really been able to, I've been able to identify some good labor, help smart people and help them, nurture their careers and their life and teach them stuff. So, I don't know why I ended up in the pool business. Sometimes I'm like this, sometimes we get mad at it, but there's also so much good stuff going on here. It just depends on how we look at it. You just got to be careful not to get burnt out. Make sure that you're always keeping your perspective in check and always staying ahead of what's relevant and taking care of and making sure problems aren't happening with your industry, letting things go on too long.
How big is your team now at Thunderbird? How big is the company? How many installs you guys do?
Well, we've done up to probably 250 pools in 1 year. I've got 5 sales guys right now. We just trimmed down from 7. We had 7 running through the pandemic. I probably have about 28 employees at Thunderbird, and sales staff, permitting staff, my managers, and then we do service and maintenance, and I've got a pool construction division too. So we maintain about almost 500 pools, and they're most all of them are Thunderbird pools. We only take care of our clients. I don't like taking care of people's pools that I didn't build because they usually have crappy equipment, or they're just, my techs don't know what they are. That way, this also helps with my warranty costs, customer service. It's just a beautiful operation. With Pool Contractor Pro, they get an app when I build them the pool. If they sign up for maintenance, they can keep that app on. They can communicate through the app, and then they can also request like, hey, I want an outdoor kitchen. I want more stuff. So we're constantly trying to get and automate what Pool Contractor Pro is trying to do. I'm trying to automate the entire swimming pool office thing, so that we can make every process within that office as simple as possible. Getting the computers and all that technology to work for us for notifications and emailing people, assisting in sales, assisting in all that. So, there's just a lot to it.
I'm going to ask you this question, Cool, because I get this question asked like every day, almost from our clients, future clients or contractors, is mostly about jobs. How do I get consistent flow of jobs every single month, whether it's a slow season, busy season? What's your strategy? What's been your main source of getting jobs? What does that look like? And how do you keep your crews?
Well, I look at the pool business like this. It's a wave. I mean, it's constantly fluctuating. Now, a normal year would be in Phoenix, the second week of January, the phones start ringing and they start picking up steam. Yeah. March is typically your biggest, first big boom, because these people want to swim for the summertime. Now, this is typically smaller pools, family pools that want to get in for the summer. Okay. So we're usually ramped up, busy into, July, and then you're finishing up those jobs, August, September. It's still 110 in Phoenix in September. October can be warm. It never cools down until like the end of October. But at the end of the summer, Phoenix has a ton of part-time residents, second homeowners that have a lot of cash. These guys have cash. They're older people. They come in and we do all of the high-end pools. I mean, so we do all of our custom pools and stuff like that. When fall kicks off, the end of summer, even Labor Day could be the start of your renovation work. So renovation can kick on from then and there. So you have to be diversified. That's why I own a landscape company. And hopefully the Pool Contractor Pro is going to be steady income, and it is. And then you have you got to do repairs and stuff like that, landscape, renovation, remodel to fill in those gaps, because you got your new pools at the beginning of summer, you got your custom pools, but sometimes you can find yourself in dead areas where nobody's buying. It could be warm outside. So that's the regular flow. Now, with the pandemic and everything, that just screwed up the whole cycle. Now we're in the high inflation combating high interest rate scenario right now with the bank. So, there's a lot of stuff going on the big market. So, you have to follow that, and be ready for the fall and winter by substituting with either renovation, repairs, and those things happen off season. So, nobody wants to remodel their pool in May, June, July, or even start it in March with the chance it's going to not be finished in June when those kids get out of school. So you got to kind of look at if you're going to just do pools and new pool construction, you're going to be stuck to the flow and the traffic of new pools. You could combat that with having some builder accounts and working for subdivisions, but you could get eaten up if you're not a careful contractor by bigger contractors eating you up. Like when the mortgage crisis happened in 2008, I knew a ton of friends that got burnt by the home builders. And I never really got in with other builders, because when I first got my license, I worked for a couple builders, but they would take advantage of me. I didn't make high prices on them. My jobs were going on for 2 years. And then if there was an issue, one of them had me set a bond beam elevation a foot too low on a negative edge. We shotcreted the pool. And then they came out and said, hey, your pool's about a foot too low. We went out to a bare lot, no house. I said, hey, you give me your transit. You give me a guy, you shoot me the bond beam elevation on this pool. I'll dig it. We'll get it shotcreted for you. And I ended up eating all that. So, you got to be careful when you're working for builders and stuff like that. But that's the only way you're going to kind of help to try to get even flow, because housing is not so tied into the fluctuations of heat and stuff. It is a little bit, but not on the extremes. Pools are really tied into the weather. People we know that the first day it's 100 degrees out there, someone's going to go out and burn their hand on their car handle, and they're going to go, "Hey, I'm going to sign my contract. I need a pool." I forgot how miserable and hot Phoenix is until I just realized it, or it just, just burned my hand.
And how are you getting these jobs right now?
Well, I always worked on referral. I mean, referral's the best type, but when you got a sales staff, it takes a while for those guys to get individual referrals. So, we have been done marketing. I mean, I'm a hands-on guy, so I've done a lot of my own social media. I can make videos. I can make posts. I used to do all my own Google AdWords. And the funny thing is, I mean, I wish I would have never gave on it because I had an old Google account. It was, I had my website launched in 2003. So my website's been on a long. I was the first pool builder to have a Facebook page. Other builders laughed at me when I had a Facebook page. So, I did my own Google AdWords, and that worked out so well. I was spending less than like $600 a month, and my phone would ring off the hook, and I'd have to hire guys. And then I turned it over to not yours, but another marketing guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but and my leads went down, and he was charging me $2,000-$3,000. So it's been a mix of that. Right now, I've got some marketing guys that I'm using and their family, and we're building that as part of my stuff. But that's kind of just for me. I work with a lot of other marketers because we actually with other marketers, we're actually making a CRM sales funnel so that we can come in and say, "Hey, we got a CRM sales funnel for all your leads coming in. We're going to attach to Pool Contractor Pro so that it will enhance our sales CRM and help you collect all your leads." So we're kind of looking at how we can help other people do it and help other marketers with our software. Because one thing we want to avoid is third-party interruptions. If we can make the software and code it ourselves, that's it. So it's part of all my automation that I'm trying to do. I within the next 2 years, I want to have everything at Thunderbird automated as much as possible, including estimation and drafting. And nobody has a drafting solution out there.
End-to-end funnel you're making, Cohl.
Pretty crazy.
I love that. Yeah, no, that is impressive. Like you've got like every single piece dialed in, and like that app itself we're going to talk about now I think it's a game changer for anybody in the pool industry. We talked about it a little bit on the expo. I don't know a lot of people know about this app. That's why I want to talk more in detail what this app's about. How did you even come up with this idea? And what were the gaps that you saw in the industry that made you want to create this app, which is the Pool Contractor Pro? So
Pool Contractor Pro, we started in 2021. I had an IT guy named Charles, and he kept on saying, "Hey, I'm going to build you an app, man. I want to build you an app. I want to build you an app." And he kept on saying that, and we made a bunch of money during the pandemic. So I had a stack of cash, and so I'm kind of like, "Oh my God, I get to invest finally into stuff." And so he talked me. The deal was he was going to build me the app and I was going to build him a pool. So that was the deal. That's kind of how it started. It was called the T-Bird app back in the day. And so we got started on that process. I built him a really nice custom pool, and he built the first version of the T-Bird app. And we started putting that in together. And then within that, we came up with the concept of Pool Contractor Pro. We found the website, the name, the terminology. Hey, this is what we could do it. And then I started putting my really thoughts into it. I'm not a software dude, so I had to learn software at every level to get out there. And so we got this app going, and then we named it Pool Contractor Pro. We decided to offer it to other pool companies. But the reason we put it together is because I was using 4 or 5 different apps in my company to achieve what Pool Contractor Pro can do in one app. I've got my sales CRM. I've got all my calendar systems. Our calendar integrates with Google. We have all the job boards. We design these incredible job boards that work on an iPhone. So, it does the other Android too, but you can actually do a job board and run your whole business off your phone, because that's what a lot of guys are doing today. I spend more time on the phone, and a lot of processes are easier on the phone than they are a desktop. So I needed one app, training people and paying for 4 or 5 different apps, and then in different process, it doesn't talk together. And then you still have people going, hey, communication sucks. I didn't find out about this. It's just, that's what people would say. So we knew we needed to have one. There wasn't one out there, that was even close to what we wanted. So we did the app. We got that going. We got it working pretty good. We were invited to go to, we were invited to go to Pace. I had to pay for it. So we went to Paramount Pace, and it was out in Ahwatukee. And that was the first conference we took it to. So we worked on it in Thunderbird. We got it all working kind of cool. It was all kind of Charles design. We took it to Pace. We showed it. Hayward was like, oh my God, we really love your app. So we started talking to Hayward at that point. And so they've been kind of monitoring the app the whole time. And then we kept on, working on the app, coming out with new features. And then we hit all the pool shows. I went around through all the pool shows, and then we got some builders on board. We signed up some guys, and we actually had quite a few builders on board at one point. Then the people just weren't really liking the app in the beginning. It was hard to train. A lot of people are software kind of challenged, and this is a brand new app. So, we had bugs and we had issues, and it was kind of, I wanted to make sure we had all the bugs rolled out before we got out there. But when you're putting on different companies, we started getting our butts kicked a little bit. Hey, we're missing this. This guy wasn't happy. So we ramped up, and then it kind of cooled off a little bit. And then we're like, oh my gosh. Well, going down the road, then we hit 2022. Things happened with Charles. So, Charles and me had to disband our partnership. I purchased the entire rights and bought out Pool Contractor Pro myself. And then I took his son, Andrew, and his son, Brandon, were working on the app. They were part of the team. So Charles had to leave. So I took the boys, and Andrew, my coder, is a brilliant young man, and he built the app start to finish. So I kind of found out in all the interim is that Andrew was in the background, but he was the one doing all the coding, and Charles was, just part owner and was just subbing Andrew, and Andrew just kept quiet and kept working. But I really found out that Andrew was the key to the entire app, and that I really didn't need Charles anymore. And I was really connected with the pool company. So we went out and hit a couple shows, and that's when I met you. And then we weren't getting any bites. We just weren't getting any bites. Nobody was falling in love with it or seeing it. And I'm, pitching my thing. So I brought in a couple experts, and I had them go, okay, you tell me what's up with my app. And they came in and they gave me some suggestions. And then I took a bunch of those. And then me and Andrew really sat down and talked. This is when me and Andrew really started connecting, and I really started getting into it. And I started doing a lot of research on other apps, checking out other apps, looking at front ends and stuff like that. So we decided we needed we'd been working on the estimation. That's a big project. We're going to have that done sometime in the next year, but we put in a complete communication portal. We tied all the communications to all the customers. We fixed a bunch of stuff. We completely changed the entire look of the app. So if you look at my background, this is the old app. I'm waiting for a new background, but we completely reskinned the whole app.
That looks the old one.
So we completely reskinned it. We did all these things. And then I was able to this year, because I've been in contact with Hayward the whole time, I was invited, and this was kind of, I didn't know what to think, but I was invited by Aaron Martin, one of the head guys in the marketing department at Hayward. He said, "Hey, we're having this partner summit in San Antonio in March, and would you?" He goes, "We wanted to do a whole thing, a presentation on software." And we all thought, well, who better than to get Cohl and Lisa Workman from Thunderbird Pools and Pool Contractor Pro to do a software thing. So they're saying you can talk about your app or whatever. So they set this thing together. So a bunch of builders, I would probably say 100 plus, give or take, builders. Now these are builders. Like now we went to the Las Vegas Pool Show. I only saw a couple builders and I saw a million service people. There was none of the big guys were there. It was really disappointed. You probably had a hard time getting builders, but I was disappointed in it. And we didn't get a lot. We got a few conversations and stuff. We did Atlantic City, made a few conversations, got some contacts, got some people in the pipeline. But we went to San Antonio and we had all the app changes made when we walked into San Antonio. So we went in, took Andrew, me and my wife, and they gave us, so what they did is they had breakout sessions. So everybody in the group, all 100 builders, was broken down and they had to go to 3 rooms for like an hour. And then every hour they changed the room. So it was a session. So I got like 1/3 of the builders and I had to do 3 of these. So in one day we got to do 3 presentations and we did a presentation on software. So we showed them, I showed them all the software that I use in my daily life, everything that I use. Slack for my computer guys, we use the T-Bird app or whatever, Pool Contractor Pro for all this other stuff. There's a lot of other apps I like Chip Clamp and stuff like that. Some of the apps that really make my life easy that I use, the Adobe products that I use, and all the other. We went over and showed all the apps that are available to pool contractors, what they do, what they don't do, how they compare. Very honest. I mean, we just totally came in and we didn't say one bad thing about another person's app because I didn't want somebody to say, hey, I'm a Builder Trend dude and you're up there trashing Builder Trend. No, Builder Trend's an awesome freaking app, man. They really set the tone for construction. They came up with awesome stuff. So, we don't put down anybody. I showed them what I did, what I can do, the advantage of my app, but the advantage of their apps. And then I showed them my app. And then I had quickly before that ran over to Kinko's and got a survey. And then at the bottom asked them if they wanted a demo. So we did the summit, the partner summit. They let us do this thing. There was no money paid for, but they did pay for my hotel room. And then the feedback we got after that was everybody loved our presentation. And then we had a list of people that wanted demos. So in the last week that we got back, we pretty much have signed up 5 builders since we got back. So we put on 5 Hayward builders. I notified Hayward and said, hey, we're working with these 5 guys. Their whole intention is they wanted to get Hayward builders on the app to see how it would perform. So we're in negotiations with them right now to be part of their rewards program. So if you're a Hayward builder, Hayward was going to give you money or maybe pay for your Pool Contractor Pro subscription. They now, I call it Proud Partners. So I came up with a logo. I love the whole thing of partners. I was driving down the road and I saw a Sweet James, lawyer, billboard, and it said, Phoenix Suns, proud partners. And I thought, well, that's a cool way to do it. We don't have to give each other money, but they can help me load up with customers and I can take care of their customers and make them look good in the same time. And we can help these builders because what I heard at that partner summit was we need help with marketing. My website's screwed up and I can't even get a hold of the guy that designed it. How do I do this? How do you do that? How do you control your sales guys? And I can tell them, hey, I had struggle with my sales guys. I had a struggle with my superintendents because they would work hard for 2 weeks and goof off for 2 weeks. And then when everything started hitting the fan, they'd kick it back up. Now with Pool Contractor Pro, I monitor everything they do. They have to fill out a report on everything that they do, and it's in the app. So you know what my guys do? They get done early instead of working late. They're organized instead of being disorganized. They know what's going on in their job. Customers are happy. And my profit's up over 10% because we're not making stupid mistakes all the time. They have a checklist to follow on every job. The problem so they have to go out and do it and perform the jobs as I did it. They have the checklist that I want done. They have to do it the way that we have decided the pool needs to be checked. So we're able to put in all those systems in place and then we can manage it. So it's really given us a tool as managers that you just never had before.
Cool, man. Dude, I love the app. I'm going to definitely download it. I'm going to do a demo with you, kind of see if this is something we can offer to our clients as well. Because this is a much needed app in the industry itself. I'll be honest with you. So maybe one of these we can do a coaching call. Kind of introduce the whole app, do a demo with our clients as
Sure.
well. See if they want to use it for their business as well. So we'll definitely do that. If somebody wants to follow you, Cohl, get some advice from you, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
Well, probably the best thing to contact me, you can go through Pool Contractor Pro. If you want a demo, you can sign up right there on the site. It takes you to a booking page. You can put in your lead. We'll get you set up with a demo, and we'll just show you what it's wants, like 10, 15 minutes. I'm Cohl Workman on Facebook, Warrior614 on Instagram, and Cohl W on TikTok. But best way, if you need to get in touch with me, is Cohl at either thunderbirdpools.com or poolcontractorpro.com. Depends on which avenue. But if you're interested in the app, you're a builder, we'd love to show you what we can do for your business. It's now that I think we've got all the bugs worked out of it. And this is really important. Yesterday was a big day for me. We signed up last week a big, huge builder in Indiana. Super neat guy named Ben McDaniels, Raft to Rafters Pools. And we were able to put an app together for them that builds vinyl liners, spa sets, fiberglass pools, repair and construction. He does all these things. He replaces vinyl liners. He does all these types. We built him all these different boards and made the whole app together. And one thing that changed is that I used to let used to let Charles take care of all this, but now I'm involved with my technicians. When we onboard a new client, I'm involved with that pool builder, making sure we're getting the app set up the way they want. So I'm kind of overseeing the onboarding, making sure it gets done right. So at the end of the call, we've been working with Ben for over 2 weeks now. Well, no, he signed up before the end of the month. So we've been working with him that long. And I said, and then Ben asked me, he goes, "Hey, do you mind if I just contact Andrew direct with any question?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "I'm on the call to ensure that you're getting the customer service you want, that you're extremely happy with the app, and we're setting it up exactly the way you want." And he responded to me by saying, "Dude, I couldn't be happier. You have beat my expectations, and I feel completely safe with all of your response times. Anytime I've had any issues, you guys have turned around and helped me, held my hand, and got this together for me." He goes, "I'm beyond excited about this app. It's going to be huge." And everybody we showed it to in doing the same procedure has had positive response. So, my next goal is to get 100
That's
people.
amazing, man. Yeah, I love it. Guys, if you want to check out Cohl's new app, Pool Contractor Pro, definitely go to his Instagram, check it out, or go to poolcontractorpro.com. Highly recommend it. I've seen it at the expo, and I'm definitely going to do another demo, but I would love for you guys to check out the new version, because I haven't even seen the new version. So I want to see that myself. But other than that, Cohl, let's wrap things up. I appreciate you hopping on. It's been a pleasure. And guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I will see y'all on the next one.